You're watching Saints Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Harrison Graham, for today's video. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, the more subs we get, the more Saints videos we are able to do. So on today's show, we are going to break down Todd McShay's 2-round mock draft, which came after that big Saints-Eagles trade. And before the Saints made their first pick, these were the 5 picks before pick number 16. From 15 down to 11, Trent McDuffie, the cornerback out of Washington, Jermaine Johnson, the edge rusher as well, Charles Cross, the offensive tackle out of Mississippi State, Derek Stingley, who had a heck of a pro day, the quarterback out of LSU, and then Chris Olave, the wide receiver out of Ohio State. So who do the Saints get at number 16 in McShay's mock? Trevor Penning, the offensive tackle from Northern Iowa. I think it's pretty clear at this point he's going to go in round 1, and what's turning out to be a really, really strong offensive tackle class. Really dominant as a run blocker, good as a pass blocker, but continue to improve in that area as well. Huge guy, 6'7", 325 pounds, competitive. Obviously played at a smaller school playing there in the FCS, but has had a really strong pre-draft process, and I fully expect him to go in the first round. Here's what McShay said about Penning to the Saints at 16. Could the Saints be moving up for a quarterback? Maybe. GM Mickey Loomis thinks Malik Willis or one of the other signal callers can be a long-term answer, and a move like this suggests that possibility, talking about the trade. But I get the sense that New Orleans believes it can challenge Tampa Bay for the NFC South right now, and this pick allows the Saints to attack some issues in the trenches. Left tackle Teron Armstead signed with Miami in free agency, leaving James Hurst in a starting role. Penning is the last top-tier tackle on the board, and he makes a lot of sense as Armstead's replacement in protecting Jameis Winston. 6'7", 325-pounder is also an outstanding run blocker, which would help spring ball carrier Alvin Kamara. And again, you look at his PFF grades here, he's tremendous as a run blocker. Overall, though, still really, really good as a player. Only allowed 1 sack. I think he's going to be a day one plug-and-play starter at left tackle in the National Football League, and if the Saints get him, I think it's a pretty good replacement for Teron Armstead. Who should the Saints draft with the number 16 overall pick this year? Curious to see what they got, up their sleeves, because you don't make that trade with Philadelphia unless you've got some kind of plan. So curious to see what they do. Curious to see what you guys think they should do at number 16. Now you look at the top overall offensive line prospects. Ikem Ekwonu out of North Carolina State, Evan Neal out of Alabama, Charles Cross out of Mississippi State. Those 3 guys, especially the first 2, will likely be gone. Trevor Penning, and then Kenyon Green, who's kind of a guard-tackle hybrid. I think he plays guard in the NFL. These are kind of the top 5 guys at offensive line this year. So at pick number 19, just a couple of selections later, Todd McShay also goes in the trenches, but on the other side of the ball, Jordan Davis, who we said Trevor Penning's big. This guy is massive, 6'6", 340, absolutely relentless as a defensive tackle. But what's impressive is how mobile, how athletic he is for being that massive. What do you run, like a 4.78 in the 40? Incredible for his size. And you will watch him on tape, even in the SEC, you're like, this guy is a man among boys in college football. That won't always be the case in the NFL, but size alone, you'd be hard pressed to find a lot of people on this planet bigger than Jordan Davis, even in the NFL. More on this pick in a second, but first, I want to remind you guys to subscribe to Saints Now. We are getting closer and closer and closer to Atlanta Falcons today in subscribers, just over 600 away. And, hey, guys, they had a big jump on us, so we're catching up here. Who Dat Nation, show it out. Continue to do that. Subscribe today. Make it a competition. Can't be losing to the Dirty Birds in subscribers. Just not an option. So hit that big red button today for more Saints news and rumors videos. Here's McShay on drafting Jordan Davis. The Saints have a strong run defense, but defensive tackles David Nurmado and Shai Tuttle are only under contract for 1 more year, and Davis could really be a game changer in the middle of the field. He is a space eater who wowed scouts at the combine with the 4.78 40, 32-inch vertical jump, and a 10'3" broad jump at 6'6", 341. If he can stay at that weight in the NFL, look out. New Orleans also might be looking at wide receivers in this range. Jahan Dotson, Arkansas's Treylon Burks would provide a big target outside. I think it's possible a few picks too early for both, and the second round promises to have plenty of pass-catching options. I don't think the Saints let Davis get past them here. Listen, I love Jordan Davis. I liked him coming out of college. I loved him after the combine. I mean, to be this big and that athletic, which he showed in Indianapolis, it's unheard of how well he tested. Some people worry if he could be a three-down player. I think he's athletic enough to do it if you want him to. I think he can get more sacks in the NFL as well. And we know he's going to eat up run blockers for days. He's going to be eating right guards for breakfast like it's nobody's business. So you add two legitimate trenches day one starters with these picks, I think you could do a lot worse if you're Mickey Loomis. What is the biggest need for the Saints entering this draft? If the draft started today, what's the biggest need? Let us know in the comments section and give us your thoughts on this one. Now, before we get to the round 2 selection for New Orleans, here were a few players that flew off the board between picks 19 and 49. George Pickens landed in Indianapolis. Matt Corral got drafted by Seattle. Obviously, the Saints could be linked to some quarterbacks. Malik Willis goes to Pittsburgh. Treylon Burks went to the Cardinals. And then Jahan Dotson, two players that McShay just mentioned, he landed with the Green Bay Packers. So at pick 49, the Saints do get a receiver. It is John Metchie III out of Alabama, who is a good player in his own right. Shifty player, good route runner. Doesn't have incredible speed, but he's fast enough. The yards after the catch are good. The route running's good. That's where the separation comes into play as well. Coming off a knee injury that he suffered in December as he recovers from that ACL. So we'll see if he's ready to go by week 1, but if not, it should be shortly after that as well. Here's what McShay had to say about Metchie. Michael Thomas hasn't spent much time on the field over the past 2 seasons, and the Saints' other pass-catching options don't excite much. Quarterback Jameis Winston would really benefit from a reliable target on the outside, and Metchie is a polished route runner with soft hands. He quietly, very true, had 1,142 receiving yards and 8 touchdown catches last season, but suffered a knee injury in December. And I think if Metchie didn't have that injury, maybe he'd be getting some round 1 buzz. But I think middle round 2, early round 3, that's going to be the range for John Metchie. So even if it's a tick early with the number 49 overall selection, I still think it's a worthwhile pick by New Orleans. And they got to get something next to Michael Thomas on the outside. And if they're not going to go receiver in round 1, I think drafting one in the second round makes a lot of sense because I don't think Traquan Smith's a number 2. I just don't. And I don't think any of these other guys are going to elevate to that status. If you get a number 2 guy and slide these guys back, I think they fit those roles much better. We'll see what ends up shaking out between now and, of course, on draft night. Grade Todd McShay's mock draft for the Saints, A, B, C, D, or F. I give it a solid B, B+. I think the Metchie pick's a little high, but I certainly understand getting a receiver there. I like the other 2 picks as well. Get your grades in. We'll see you soon here on Saints Now.